Hello and welcome to News Team 9 Seattle. I'm Barry Reinhardt filling in for Gob Toboggan. Here are tonight's top stories. Well, the snow may have subsided, but that doesn't mean that we can't find new things to be terrified about. So rather than reporting the news to you and giving you thoughtful commentary, I'm just going to shout things at you to make sure you remain docile and terrified. Measles, tax cuts, Green Book. Now we're going to toss it over to our local traffic reporter, Danneker, who I understand is currently at the site of a pretty awful accident. Trick, how's it looking out there?
Thanks, Dobbin. I'm here at the corner of Queen Anne and John. We received reports of a 3-car accident here at this intersection. However, we arrived, it seems as though it's been cleaned up. The cars have been taken away. I don't see any signs of any broken glass or anything. So I'm afraid I don't have anything to report at this time. What I'm going to do is see if I can find any witnesses and have some more information for you.
That really is too bad, Trick. But actually, you know what? I'm getting a report right now that we've got an accident on First and Mercer. So if you can get out there right away, Trick, we might be able to get this covered.
All right, we're on it. Thank you.
All right. And now we're going to toss it over to Keiko Green, our special reporter, who is bringing us a profile today of a very interesting alternative artist that lives right here in Seattle. Keiko?
Thank you, Barfield. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of Tokyo Sex Whale, the groundbreaking experimental artist often compared to Banksy, who works in a very unique medium, Amazon reviews. Some of his more popular pieces include this one for sugar-free gummy bears, and this one for the Snuggie. This artistic icon has largely remained anonymous for 12 years, hiding behind the handle Tokyo Sex Whale, until now. In this exclusive interview, Tokyo Sex Whale finally reveals his true identity. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And now, without further ado, welcome, Tokyo Sex Whale.
Thank you so much for having me, Keiko. It's a real pleasure to be here and finally get an opportunity to share who I am.
I'm so sorry. Paul, can we change the focus on this? I think there's something, can I get you a glass of water? I think your voice is sounding really garbled right now.
Wow. I'm sorry, but that's just really, really offensive. You're being offensive.
How?
You can't just tell somebody that they're not... You see, Keiko, this is exactly why I wanted to come on your show.
Oh, and why is that?
To talk about my condition.
And what condition is that?
It's called Anonymasia.
What started as an interview with a world-famous artist led us to what would become the real story. What exactly is Anonymasia? And is there a cure? Tokyo Sex Whale, aka Brian Fickledick, was born anonymous. His parents noticed the trait very early on. But for Brian, it wasn't until his first day of school that he realized how different he was from the other children.
Well, I pretty much realized right away, you know, as an only child, I really just assumed that all kids were born this way, but it wasn't until I got to school that I really realized how unique I was.
What exactly was it that made you realize this?
Well, mostly that I could see the other kids' faces, while my face is a grotesque blur, a caricature, if you will, of what an actual face is. I know it's true. I've learned to accept certain things about my face.
What difficulties do you face due to your disorder?
First of all, I prefer to call it a condition rather than a disorder. A disorder suggests that there's something wrong with you. It's really hard for me to sing on key, but honestly, it's really not all that bad. I've never had to deal with acne, so that's a plus, and I don't really bother with my hair too much. From what I feel, it feels nice and it's hanging in there, but style-wise, I don't really invest in many hair products.
Is there anything that you want to say to the fives of people out there who at some point in history, the entire universe, maybe suffered from something a little bit kind of like Anonymasia?
It just feels really nice to have an opportunity to tell my story and really feel like for the first time I'm being heard. And I don't know, it just feels really nice for people to know who I am.
Do they, though? Thank you so much for your courage in coming here today and helping us so we can normalize this, whatever this is. Thank you. Wow. Holy shit, Ray. Like, fuck. Oh my God. It's so crazy. Back to you, Barfield.
Well, the 91st Academy Awards aired last week with top acting prizes going to teeth, crying, stoicism, and Britishness. And somehow, miraculously, nobody won Best Picture. Nobody won. Weird. And now we're going to check in with our local weather girl, Adria LaMorticella, who is joining us for the very first time in studio today. So let's make sure we give her a nice warm welcome. Adria?
Thanks. I did go outside. I went outside earlier today. I gotta tell you, it's not what I expected. When I got here this morning, it was sunny. The sun was out. The sky was there. I saw it. You know, I could stand in the sun, and then I thought I should probably see what's going on with the weather now, so I can tell you. It's like, have you taken a shower? It's like a shower where the water's coming down like this, but you're outside, and instead of droplets, it's like many tiny men shouting in my face.
Well, yeah, it sounds like it's some pretty normal rain there, Adria. Why don't you tell us what the rest of the week is going to look like?
The rest of the week? Like, I looked outside earlier. What am I, a wizard? Like, oh, let me use my wand and figure out what it's gonna be. Oh, why don't I just pull out my telephone and then look it up? And phone, what's the weather supposed to be like this week?
Expect clear skies, rain, and some thunderstorms in Seattle between today and Sunday.
It looks like later this week we have chances of showers going throughout the week. Lows about in the mid-30s, highs in the mid-50s. Yep, this is about average, and seems to be what normally goes on in this region. Back to you, Arnold. Oh, I got a lot of texts.
Thank you so much, Adria. And now we're going to go back and check in with our traffic reporter, Danneker, who is on the site of another large crash there on First and Mercer. Trick, how's it looking out there?
I have to apologize, Dobbin. We got to the intersection and it looks like everything's been cleared. I see no signs of an accident. As you can see, traffic is flowing just fine. It just goes to show how great our emergency services here are in Seattle. They've cleared everything out, and I'm sorry, but I have nothing to report. It is a beautiful day, though, so...
Oh, that's really too bad, Trick. But you know what? Yeah, I'm getting another report right now that we've got a huge accident on 2nd and Comstock. 2nd and Comstock. If you can get there right away, I hope we can get this one, Trick. We're really dependent on you, big guy. Quick like a bunny. Hop, 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 hop.
All right, we're on it.
Thank you so much, Trick. Next up, we have got Amy Danneker, our home and garden specialist. Amy is going to give us some tips and tricks on how you can maintain a career with that newborn child. Amy?
Thanks, Jerry. Well, with Mother's Day coming up in just a couple of days, I think, this story goes out to all the mothers out there. It's hard, isn't it? Finding a balance of work and motherhood. I get people asking me all the time, how do you do it? Why are you so perfect? And to them, I say thank you. But it's not easy. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how you can find a balance with your career and with motherhood. first trick is to really set some time aside for just you and your little one. After a long week of work, it's nice to come home and really engage with your little one. Talk to them, sing to them, play games with them. Really enjoy that time with your baby. Set work aside, set your other duties aside, and just live in the present with your little one. Look, I did it.
Swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. Ooh, swipe right. I could be your new dad. Huh?
The next trick is making lists. Making to-do lists will help you immensely. You know those little thoughts that keep you up in the middle of the night? I write them down. I'm a big fan of sticky notes, so you'll find sticky notes all over my home. Just little reminders, little notes for myself really help me stay on track and keep organized so I can really focus on my baby rather than the to-do lists. And the final tip, and this is such a vital one, is get help when you need it. It is so important to find a partner who is caring, present, and supportive. Well, there you have it. There's some tips and tricks on how to help you on this amazing journey called motherhood. You go, Mama. This is Amy Danneker reporting. Back to you, Larry.
Thank you so much, Amy. Just a reminder to everyone really that works here, keeping me updated with your latest contact info is beneficial to all of us. All of us, no matter how sorry we may be. Next up, the viaduct is being torn down after many, many years of being a staple of Seattle traffic goers. But how did it all get started? It's time to take a trip back in time with Lamar Legend, our local expert, as he tells us how the viaduct actually got here. Lamar?
Right. Construction of the viaduct actually began in 1949 at the behest of Mayor William Devon. It was meant to be a gift to his mistress, Lady Bethesda Corkscrew, who was a madam at a brothel in Pioneer Square known as the Tin Lizzie. Now, Lady Bethesda loved all things aquatic, so the mayor decided to have the entire city redone in remembrances of the sea. For instance, the International District was supposed to be flooded in a mile-long koi pond, and further north, a huge rubber duck was supposed to be inflated and forever known as the Ballard Mallard. And of course, there is the viaduct, which was supposed to be in the style of a great kraken, with its tentacles reaching as far as Bainbridge, Bothell, and Bellevue. Unfortunately, Lady Bethesda died of embroidery before the construction could be completed, and all further plans were shelved. Of course, all we have now of those great imaginings are that tacky mermaid on the Fremont Bridge and a football team with an oxymoronic name. Interesting to note, there is a legend where the mayor has siphoned a piece of his soul into the crux of his whore, and should any of his tributes to his trollop be demolished, that the Lady Bethesda would rise again and bring about a sexual revolution, the likes of which haven't been seen since the court of Caligula. And I, for one, welcome this change. This city is so repressed. It is absolutely ridiculous that one is only allowed to ride one's bicycle once a year en masse. In the nude?
Thank you so much, Lamar. And now it is time to check back in with Trick Danneker, our local traffic reporter. Trick, how's it going out there? We're so eager to see that crash.
Well, I'm here at 2nd and Comstock, right where you sent me, and once again, it looks like I missed it. So that's the third time. 3 in one day. It seems kind of strange. You know, it's not that big a city. It's a pretty quiet neighborhood. I haven't even seen a single car go by, so it's kind of hard to believe that two would converge at the same time. But, you know, you sent me here, so I must have missed it again.
Ah, Trick, boy, that's real hard to hear, man. Oh boy, we're all bummed to butts out here. What a bummer, man. But you know what? Trick, I am actually getting another report right now. 10th and Cherry, we got a big old pile up. You're gonna have to get in there and get that right away, Trick.
You got it.
Actually, if you could lose the jacket, that would be really, really helpful to us. We're getting reports that it's kind of interfering with the white balance a little bit, so...
Yeah, it's pretty cold out here.
Hey, we gotta get that shot, Trick. Gotta get that shot. You know how important that shot is.
Understood. Yep, we'll get on it. Back to you.
Well, the spring is right around the corner. We've got Jonelle Jordan here, our lifestyle and culture reporter, to give us a little tour of some of the wines you can buy right here in Washington State. Jonelle, this should be fucking fun.
That's right, Sierra. Thank you so much. So, as we're getting out of this winter season, this cold, I mean, what was this snow, right? It's been awful. And what we really want to remember getting hopefully into spring sometime just around the corner is that it's always the right season for wine. So today we're just going to walk you through some of the local favorites that you can get at any store that we really just love, that are right in everyone's price points, usually second shelf up from the bottom. That you can impress with, you can dine with your friends, you can take to a party. So we're gonna start with some white. When we get into tastings, it's always good to remember it's better to go from light to dark. It's what my grandparents always taught me when I first started dating. With a tasting, you wanna remember, start small. You know, you're just doing a little taste, so get a little drop in your glass and you give it a little swoop-de-doop, and it helps it from dripping, so less waste. You don't want to hold the glass because your body temperature heats up the wine. So to look like a real pro, hang onto the stem. Your hands could really increase the heat, and I've got some hot hands. So just give it a little swirl, let the flavors release. It's perfect. It's perfect. To me, it's 93 degrees. I'm in a swimsuit and a sensible cover-up, and I have some salmon baking in the oven. This is a great summer wine. Up next is a white Burgundy wine. And again, what we want to remember, you just pour a little bit in. And what I love about whites is just as we get into this season, they're cold, you know? Well, I got the swoop-de-doop. I might have poured a little more than just that splash. But the most important thing is not to waste a drop. We always want to remember that while tasting wine as well. My doctor might not be too happy with me. I just saw him and I'm on a mixture of different antibiotics, and he actually told me not to do this segment today because alcohol might not be a good blend. And I said, well, it's 2019, and what does a man know about what's too much for a woman's body? So I'm gonna continue. And so we're still gonna swirl, but as you can see, I oopsied already, second time, with my hand on the glass. So this is probably boiling. You know, that was actually pretty good. I'm back to my weekend vacation at an Airbnb on the coast. Maybe you're out catching crabs later, so we're gonna have a nice steamer session later. Not me and my husband, the crabs. And it's really nice and serene. Except those neighbors. We do have some neighbors that are renting the place above us, and they just keep on playing that Nickelback. How you really get the cork in, you screw it in the middle, and as you push it in, the legs come up. We're moving into reds now. As I'm sure all of you know, moving into reds, we're getting into not only winter season, but also tannins. Some people have an aversion to tannins. It might cause a reaction, a little bit of reddening. Yeah, with the tannins comes a little bit of bitterness. It's that acid, and it's that bitter, like my first divorce. A little miscommunication, a little irreconcilable differences. Oh, what'd you say? That hurt your feelings? I don't care. These are all things associated with tannins and stuff. Not really a fan of this one. I'll probably go back to the other one. This is soft. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back. Let's just take a little break. Just 1 second, okay? Hi, I know. No, it's not weird that I'm calling you. What are you doing? I just was thinking about you. That there are times, do you remember when we used to go to the San Juans together? Hello? Shit! Oh, damn it! No! Okay. Hi, it's me again. Did you mean to hang up on me? No? What? No, I'm not being crazy. I just was thinking about you. So this is our fifth glass of wine, and it's red, and my stomach was a little bit upset. Thank you for joining me, and this is Jonelle Jordan at a wine tasting. Back to you, Sierra.
Thank you, Jonelle. And we are going to check right back in with Danneker, our traffic reporter. He's such a good guy, such a good traffic reporter, and he's trying so very hard. All right, Trickle Dickle, buddy boy. How's it going out there?
Yeah, thanks. I'm here at a playground. This is where you sent me, but it's clearly a playground. There aren't any cars within 100 feet. There's some dogs playing over there. I saw a couple of 3-year-olds fighting over a bucket earlier, but no car accidents to report. So this is where I am. You know, the traffic guy is always outside, and I'm starting to think that you're doing this deliberately just to mess with me, and I don't appreciate it.
Well, Trick, I mean, if you knew we were screwing with you, why'd you take the jacket off?
Well, you said it was messing with the white balance.
Oh, boy.
You know what?
Well, that about does it for this month, Seattle. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope we'll see you again next month. I'm Barry Reinhardt, filling in for Gob Toboggan, and this has been Seattle News Team 9. And don't forget, just because you have a friend doesn't mean that friend considers you one.
Yes, I can do it. I'm a mother. I'll be there.